Okay, pound dollar, what can we see from the weekly chart? The weekly chart is showing a very important psychological picture of how the human and mass psychology could work at times. So we all know what happened over the past couple of weeks. This would represent these two candlesticks of price action. The dollar got very strong. Inevitably, the pound dollar got pushed lower and lower, then eventually reached this very psychological level of 1.165, at which point retail traders could have, especially those who usually trade support and resistance, could have seen something like this, whereby they saw price breaking down impulsively, almost assuming that their level didn't hold up at all, and then assuming that there would be further move to the downside. However, big banks and institutions would have got in and then pushed price even higher, triggering all of those stop losses of the retail traders, and then eventually price continued to the upside to form new highs. That's not a surprise because of the fact that we reached that important level that was not touched for about 4 years. So naturally, what I'm looking for on the 1 hour, and this is where I'm looking at the potential entries that could look at, we could look at something like that, whereby we have price that could continue horizontally before committing to a bigger leg of move, such as the one that we saw here. This could push even higher. The first target could then be this another very important psychological level of 1.3200 to then continue even higher if there is potential and enough steam and enough money pumped into the market to 1.35 and so forth. The second pair would be gold, so XEU USD. I'm looking at this as a strict correlation between this asset class and the US dollar. We all know what is taking place in America with all the quantitative easing. This could potentially lead to higher rates of inflation and a subsequent devalue of the currency. So investors could rush to the so-called safe havens in order to protect their capital, and this could see gold shoot up in the next few months and years to come. So on the daily chart, we can see a potential sort of short-term correction horizontal before moving to the upside. On the 1 hour, in terms of potential entries, I am looking at this sort of setup where we could see a triple bottom here, which could coincide really nicely. So first, second, and then third to push even higher to then form what we could also call this as a head and shoulder type formation. This could then lead to a potential scale-in. So two positions that are lining up on the table to then aim at the 1700 levels. The third pair is CAD yen. The weekly chart shows a clear descending channel that since January 2018 has pretty much always been respected, with the exceptions of these two couple of huge spikes of volatility. The most recent one also happened to close as a doji candle, which could lead to a morning start formation from the next week onwards. This could also potentially represent a push to the upside to then target this outer structure. So in terms of the entries, I'm looking at something along the lines of a second bottom or double bottom. So scooping formation to reach this level here, this blue ray line. If we reach it correctively, we're then likely to form new highs. If we reach it impulsively, we could push even further. But given the situation and given the double bottom, this is my preferred entry with a potential scale-in as well, similarly to gold.